You're listening to The Dating Den with dating and relationship badass and best-selling author Marni Batista. Every week, you'll get the raw truth from top experts and real people on the important dating, sex, and relationship issues you want to know about. So if you're ready for true talk that's authentic and unfiltered, and you're not afraid to be called out on your stuff, then you're ready for what's next.
The Dating Den, episode 60 with Julie. How to stop putting up with crap from a guy now. The real breakdown on how to tell him you're done being his sort of girlfriend. Ladies, welcome to the Dating Den. It's the holidays. Are your halls decked? Or is your menorah lit? Is your Kwanzaa? It's like such a time of the year. I think it's really about celebration and gratitude and really also a lot of anticipation about what it is we did or didn't do this year and what we intend to do next year. And I thought it would be really awesome for those of you who are thinking about that to look at, what are the flags that come up for myself as I'm dating that I'm starting to recognize. And how could I shift those so that in my journey to find love, I'm not doing that next year? Because as I said to someone today, it doesn't matter how much work you've done on yourself. If you don't have the end result, it means there's still some things to learn, which is why I invited Julie into the Dating Den today. And Julie is amazing. She has got her act together. She knows she's worthy. But she's not standing up for what she deserves. She's not walking away. And her big issue is, and I know that you all relate to this, is that she goes too far, too fast with men that she meets and she really likes. She focuses on them. She doesn't focus on her own needs. And she tries to kind of chameleon herself into filling their bucket rather than really looking at what she wants. And she, of course, just like all of you, she's done work. She really wants to focus on how she can make herself a priority while still meeting a great guy, and not get to the finish line before she can even see the finish line. So with that, let's welcome Julie into the Dating Den. Hey, Julie.
Hi.
Did I get that right? Did I recap your current challenges?
I think you pretty much nailed me in a 1 minute speech.
I think I nailed you and probably like 99.95% of the people who are listening. So I appreciate you coming up to the plate on their behalf.
Great.
So it's, it is like the beginning of a new year. Have you thought like, God, this has got to be my year? Are you that person who like every year is like, this is the year I'm going to find love. This is the year. Is that you?
I think I turned 50 this year, and my theory is this is going to be my best year. And I'm still repeating patterns that are keeping it from being my best year ever.
Well, that's frustrating.
Very.
And I think, and that's really the conundrum of smart, successful women. So my guess is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like probably in other areas of your life, you're like, this is the year I'm gonna. And then you like look back and you're like, yeah, I did that.
Yes. Professionally, family, friendships, all those things, just not in the area of finding a life partner.
Well, there's that whole thing that there's someone else involved. Hate when that happens. So great. So we're going to talk about this today. And I think the first thing that I really want to hear from you is when you think about, really wanting to get to the end, to like have this be the guy who checks the box. Where's that coming from? Like, why is it like checking the box in a time frame is so important to you?
I don't really enjoy the dating piece. I don't enjoy the unknown and the the what's next. I mean, when we connect and everything's going really well and we have the same backgrounds and values and future goals in life. I just feel like, why are we wasting the next 6 months trying to figure out what we're going to do after that? Why can't we just start dating exclusively now? Why can't we try this out now? Why can't we just jump in, see if it's going to work, and if it doesn't, move on? Why does there have to be this dance and this process to get to that point?
Okay. Wow. You said like 25 things in there that we could like break down. So bless your soul. So the first thing is, you were saying that you want to know why you can't just get to the end, and you're making a lot of assumptions about all those positive attributes. So when are you choosing to say, oh my gosh, he 100% meets all my criteria? Is it like after the first date, after the second date, after you look at his profile? When's that happening for you?
It's usually about a month in, maybe a month to 6 weeks in.
Okay. And so
by then I've either decided, no, this isn't somebody that I'm compatible with, or it's somebody that I really am very compatible with.
Okay. So you're meeting these guys, you're going, like, how many dates would you say you've gone on in 6 weeks? Like, how many times a week have you seen this guy?
Probably 3 times a week. So at that point, we've been on, maybe 15 dates, maybe 10 dates, and a lot of phone conversations or, other communication.
Okay. And is the ding dang in the wang wang?
Not usually.
Okay, cool. So what's happening is that you at that point are actually having the conversation or initiating, like, where's this going? Are we pulling our profiles down? Is that what's the moment where you're like, why are you not wanting this to proceed like I want it to go?
I don't think there's a moment where I make a statement. I don't say, hey, where is this going? Where are we? What's going to happen? It's that we've had a lot of conversations about what each of us wants out of life. Does each of us want to get married again at some point? Where do we see ourselves? What kind of a relationship do you want long term? And I start using words like relationship, or I start communicating with them every day, or I volunteer to help them. Maybe it's move from one apartment to another, or I'm really just there for them a lot. And at that point, I feel like we're moving into a relationship. And at that point, they still feel like we're dating, and they're trying to figure out what they want still long term.
Got it. Okay.
I become the leader in the relationship, trying to pull it along somewhere instead of just letting them lead it and let it happen.
Yes. And the other thing is, I have a name for this, actually, because of course I have a name for everything. I call it Geisha Girl behaviors, right? It's like, I'll just be like the pseudo girlfriend, wife, partner, right? Like, let me help you unpack your kitchen. Let me go buy you a Swifter. Let me like organize the blah, blah, blah. And what happens is that, well, one of two things. One is a guy's like, holy shit, I just woke up one day and I have a girlfriend and I never signed up for that. Do I even want that? Or number two, they're like, this is way too much. I feel like I'm suffocating, and they start to back off. Is that what happens?
Oh, that is exactly what happened. And I did unpack the kitchen, and he did feel like he was suffocating, and he used that word.
That's funny. And the reason why I use that example is because I totally unpacked the kitchen. In fact, I used to joke with my ex right after my divorce. Like, I had a nanny and a housekeeper at my house. I was blessed, right? Because my little divorce situation. And I was at my boyfriend's house taking care of his kids, cleaning his freaking house. How fucked up is that?
Yeah, that's the opposite of right.
Exactly, right? So I feel you. I've done that. Okay. So here's the thing, and what I want everyone to hear. Number one is that we make some pretty big assumptions that the person that we are interested in has these attributes. And we call them at Dating with Dignity non-negotiables. Now, what I love about the way we do it is that they're values-based, and it's pretty impossible to 100% be certain someone has certain values if you don't see those values present in action consistently over a long period of time. Meaning that, like, what for you, Julie, like, what's a really big value you want a guy to share that you have? That's kind of a deal breaker.
Honesty.
Honesty. Okay, great. So someone says they're honest on paper. And if you go on 15 dates, they can appear to be honest. So what are some of the things that the guy does that make you go, wow, he's totally honest?
Shows his vulnerability, talks about things that aren't perfect in his life, is honest with me about him dating other women and where those relationships are. That's honesty.
Okay. So here's what's interesting. So in this one example, I think you're talking about one particular guy, yeah?
Probably, yeah.
Okay. So at any point was he saying to you, Julie, I really like you and I'm really interested in this, and what I need, and I'm not sure if I'm ready to have like a serious committed relationship in a certain time period. And what I need from you is A, B, C, and D.
No, he never had that conversation.
So what happens is he just sort of went with it.
Yes.
Okay. So this is a great example of we are selective. We become selectively blind and mute, right? When we really want it to be the one. And so we look and we see evidence of honesty. And then we tend to make this general, grand sweeping assumption that this person is 100% honest in the way that we need them to be for a long-term relationship. Because when we work with women and they're dating a really quality guy who really is honest over time, those kinds of conversations come up, right? Like, wow, you know, this is moving in this direction. And I realize that I never have really considered if I'm ready to have a long-term relationship and I need it to slow down or I need it to pause or whatever it is. So one of the little flags I want you to start noticing for yourself is that, and this will help you pump the brakes, you have your list of things you're looking for. There's no way, Julie, you can be certain after 6 weeks that the value of honesty has infiltrated every part and parcel of this person's life. You just can't tell that for maybe at least 6 months, 3 months. Make sense?
Makes sense.
And there's a question mark in your voice.
It makes sense. It just seems like it's just hard because that's a long 3 months to 6 months to invest in a relationship that, you know, is like could likely go nowhere. I don't have that's 2 relationships a year, which means that, you know, over the next 10 years, that's not that many. That's not that many people that you get that far down the road with, and the likelihood of finding one that's going to be around forever, it seems so small.
Absolutely 100% correct, which is why when you are dating someone by the 3rd date, I want you to be really clear with what you're looking for and what your expectations are and your timeline, and to check in with that person, not to see if he wants to do it with you, but if he is in the exact same place in his life.
And so the last guy I was dating that he actually, and he doesn't define us as dating. So that's a whole nother
That's
podcast.
a problem. Yeah, exactly.
He had that conversation. He actually had that conversation that is what he wants. He does want to find a partner. He does want to get married again. He does want to move down that road. And he does see that I'm a that could be a possibility with him and I together. And then after that conversation, he disappeared for about 2 weeks and started dating somebody else.
That's great information. So here's the thing. He said that that's what he's looking for. That's honesty. It wasn't you. That's what happens.
And then he came back 2 weeks later and said, oh, yeah, I was dating this other gal, thought that might be it. It's not. I want us to continue to get to know each other.
Okay. And what happened? What did you think?
We've continued to get to know each other as friends. We're not intimate. We're not going on dates. We go to lunch. We go to dinner. He sends a lot of confusing signals. Last night, he wanted me to meet his children, but we're not dating.
Okay. So this is where and this is all about finesse. And I think before you came into the den, right, we're in the waiting room. I was like, Julie, I cannot solve all your problems in 30 minutes, but we're going to get started. So, and this is why, because this is finesse, right? There's this whole dance. So that's a whole other conversation. So, hey, I'm making his name up, Jeff. You said you wanted this. You said you were looking for this. This is my year. I'm 50. I'm looking to find my man. And I'm really confused. Your actions and your words aren't matching. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for words and actions matching. That's part of a value I have around honesty. So what I need is this. So that's that. So this is where we want to leverage your assertiveness and that I want to take control piece. And we want to teach you how to do it in a feminine way, which is look, this is what I'm looking for. And I really appreciate all these great things about you. And this isn't working for me, which is kind of amazing. And I will tell you, I think we're soul sisters. When I was dating my husband, after about 6 or 7 weeks, he was like, relationship kind of freaks me out. And I'm like, well, your coffee maker's in my house. We're seeing each other all the time. If that's not a relationship to you and that freaks you out, that's a problem for me. So I'm out.
Yes. To the point where his friends are all confused also because he says we're not dating and they look at him and say, seems to me like you're dating.
Right. So my best advice there is that you're like, look, you got to get comfortable with the R word because you say that you want a relationship. You say you want marriage. You say you want all of these things. I'm not sure what your timeline is, but I'd like to be in a committed, exclusive relationship that has possibility by the time we're celebrating my 51st birthday. And the way it's going right now, I'm scared that that's not possible. And while I love you and I enjoy spending time with you, or maybe you don't love him, but I love who you are. I love all these things about you. This isn't working for me. So I'm going to move on. And if things change for you, you let me know. Because what you said is so profound, Julie. You do not have time for this shit. Does that make sense?
I'm right. Yes, it does make sense. We actually I had a brief bit of that conversation yesterday where I said, look, where I think this needs to go is we need to be just friends and you need to figure out what you want.
Okay.
And what that timeline is. And I'm going to, I'm dating, I'm doing other things.
Okay. I'm going to pause you and polish that. You cannot be friends.
Right.
Because then he gets all the benefit of having you in his life and you're not getting any of your needs met, which we know is a problem that you have. And also energetically, it's really hard to date and be open to other people when you like someone that you're friends with. When you're romantically like someone that you're quote unquote friends with.
Agreed.
So he needs to understand what it's like to not have Julie in his life. And if he is the right guy, he will notice and he will not like that. And he will be given another opportunity to see if his words and actions match. And if he doesn't, then he's out. Because, you're looking for something epic. And my concern for you is that the skills necessary to have a really deep, emotional, committed, intimate relationship, emotional intimacy, physical intimacy, intellectual intimacy, spiritual intimacy, all those things that you really want. When a guy's confused, it makes it really, really hard to feel safe. And
Yes.
so you're starting out with seeds of doubt. And it's really hard to build on something from that space. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes, the safety factor, it does. It's very hard in this situation for me to feel safe because he is confused. This last weekend, we were both traveling, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there was a lot of communication and texting and then phone calls at night. And then all of a sudden, Monday through Thursday, there was nothing.
Yeah.
Like a text in the morning that said good morning, and that was it. No communication. And when we met yesterday, he laid that on me. He said, well, you just went silent. And I said, I don't know what you want from me. You were saying that it was really great and all the communication. I said, but then you also say that it's too much communication at times because it feels like it's suffocating. So I've just left the ball in your court to start the communications. And
Yeah.
he says, don't take that as a negative. I didn't mean it in a critical way. I know you were just trying to create space. And, my creating that space, it made him look at it and say, do I want that much space? But he also said that sometimes that space gets created because he's afraid that he will say or do something that would damage a future relationship.
Yeah, this guy's fucked up. He's just not ready. Like, I think he loves all that stuff. And then he's like, oh my God, I'm not ready for this. Like, this is too much. I'm going to have all these responsibilities. I'm going to have to get her car washed. I can't, he can't deal with it. So he's emotionally unavailable. He's not ready to give you what it is that you want. And this little dance that you're doing, it is undermining, number one, any possible relationship. But I have given this advice to so many women in your situation. And that is that we need emotional safety. And that is the only way we can create true intimacy. And when one person is inconsistent, it puts I said on another podcast, my dad used to call it the pinch factor, right? Like you have this bag of stuff you're carrying around and it's like, this is one pinch he didn't call. And then it's another pinch he said that I'm suffocating. And then by the time, just a few weeks have passed, you're carrying around this bag and it feels shitty. And it's really hard to build something, especially when all this stuff's going down at the beginning. And what you don't know yet, because you're not there, is that when you date a truly quality guy who's really ready, not just saying he's ready, it's not hard.
Marni, that's the interesting thing is that when we were first dating, and I know there's that honeymoon period, that was all there and it wasn't hard. And that's part of the conversation we had yesterday was that we didn't walk on eggshells around each other. We had really great, meaningful conversations. We had fun together. We did a lot of things. And his friends have come to me in the last 4 weeks, and just said, Tom, this guy, Jeff is not Jeff, right?
Yep.
He's not Jeff anymore. He's not the person that we normally hang out with. There's something not usual in him. And And they've said, that's not, because he's not treating me the way I deserve to be treated. And they all state that also. And they say it's just not him. So that's my other, piece, is that something, and we had this conversation yesterday. There's something bothering you and in your world that makes you not ready for a relationship. And you're exhibiting that in all kinds of ways. I notice it and other people notice it.
So here's the other little polishing. Like, it's not your job to coach, fix, or teach or help him. And you don't need to give him evidence of his fucked upness. I think it and your friends think it. Because then we end up being critical. And
yes.
It's not well received. So what happens then is he gets more freaked out, more insecure, and more overwhelmed. So the best thing you can do is you can let your actions talk, which is very firm. It doesn't matter if his friends aren't dating him. I'm experiencing you different. I know what I'm looking for. Your actions aren't in alignment with how they were at the beginning. Inconsistency doesn't make me feel safe. Right now, this isn't working for me. I'm going to date other people. If by chance you get in the same page as I am, which is looking for a committed, exclusive relationship, moving forward at this pace with this kind of gradual build, I may be available, and I wish you the best of luck. And that's a woman who not just knows she's worthy, but a woman who stands up for what she deserves, and a woman who can walk away. Because every time you keep making an adjustment and a rationalization, it's dinging your self-worth at a conscious or unconscious level. And the more you do that, the more crap you're going to put up with.
Yes. And that sets a really bad tone for anything that would happen in the future, if there is anything in the future.
Exactly, because you don't want to, trust me, and I'm sure you don't want to be unpacking dishes and having men who are projects.
Yes. I want someone who already has their bucket full and just wants to share.
Exactly. And there's plenty of great guys out there like that. So taking a stand for yourself and making a bold move, I call it like the pain that you have to go through to get to the vision of what you want. It's uncomfortable. It's a new move for you. That is the type of action that you want to make consistently over time, which will ultimately help really create that year that you want. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It's just, as you said, uncomfortable. It's like speaking a foreign language, because I've never really done that before.
Totally. So you got to immerse yourself in Spanish and go to Spain. You can't Rosetta Stone this guy. Okay. You got to go all the way to Spain.
Okay.
So what's your takeaway from our conversation today?
That it's okay for me to stand up for myself and what I need. I think one of the most impactful things that you said that I will carry with me for future relationships is that inconsistency doesn't make me feel safe. And that is very true. I've never been able to succinctly put that together, but it really resonated with me. And so I need to have a conversation with Jeff and say that, I know what I'm looking for. I know what it is that I want. And you're not treating me that way right now. And this inconsistency doesn't make me feel safe. And I need to distance myself, and I need to move on. And I'm going to date other people. And if you someday get to that place and, you want to reach out, I really want you to reach out. I want to reach you to reach out, and maybe I'll be available, and maybe we can move forward. In the meantime, I wish you the best of luck.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the only little, like, if you listen back to this, the only polishing on that would be like, I'm experiencing you as inconsistent.
Okay.
Right. And that's like an advanced move saying you're inconsistent. They'll be like, no, I'm not. You're like, I'm experiencing that. No one can argue with that.
Yes.
I'm experiencing you as inconsistent. It doesn't make me feel safe. Awesome. I'm super excited. You'll have to let us know what happens with Jeff. And remember, Julie, he knows you well enough now to know what your possible like pressure points are. So don't let him and his own fear of being alone undermine your value.
Agreed. And I have to let my own fear of being alone not undermine my value.
Absolutely. Because when your words and actions match, you start to attract men whose words and actions match.
Okay.
Awesome. I like awesome. Okay.
I hope that happens. I am looking forward to that happening.
Fabulous. Well, keep us posted. I'm so grateful that you came into the dating den. I hope you have an amazing holiday and an amazing year 50.
Thank you.
All right, Julie. And ladies, this was such a good episode. For my final reminder for you, no matter what, don't forget, date with dignity. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.